So I have here, as you all know by now, the founder and CEO of Wealthnuvo. And I'm so excited to chat with her because, listen, if you want gems on gems, find Lianne. She's an amazing resource. She is a mentor. She
I like
is
saying stacks on stacks. Can we say
really
stacks on stacks?
okay.
Gems
So
on gems is good too.
stacks on stacks. That they just keep racking up. So excited to have you here, and we are doing your "How I'm Doing It" segment. It's only right because you birthed the summit. So I'm so excited to talk to you. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I think it's been like an amazing day and a half, almost 2 days. And this was just something I really wanted to do and bring forth. But like you said, you birthed it, right? So yes,
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. Let's make sure it turns out to be a good child.
It definitely will. So I want to talk to you about your relationship with money. The best way to talk about money is to talk about money. So, do you remember who the first person was, or maybe there was more than one person who you confided in about your finances? And tell me about the story and how it made you feel.
Yeah, I think definitely growing up, I come from a background where you don't talk about a lot of things, and money is one of the long list of things that you don't talk about, right? And I don't know if that's because it's a protection thing, it's a secretive thing, but I really learned that you don't really talk about money. Growing up on a low income, single mother raising two children, although it wasn't talked about, you see and you realize that I really felt that money is not easy. Like that was my kind of first experience, that money was more scarce. But still going to other friends' houses and opening up their fridge and it was full, the above ground pool in the background, because I grew up in the prairies. No one's putting any pools in the ground. And I was like, how? How does this happen? So it was really just my first foray into not really talking about money so much, but seeing it, but still feeling like you can't really talk about it.
Right.
I think going to school and actually end up getting a math degree and moving into accounting, that was the first time I really started talking about money, but was more from like a corporate perspective. It wasn't necessarily from a personal perspective. And I think the very first person I really had a first conversation about money that directly impacted my life was working an accounting firm and a really, really good friend who actually was the one who helped me get a job at one of the big four accounting firms. We were talking about how in the Toronto practice, we were supposed to make a certain percentage in the Waterloo practice. And discovering, talking to our friends, that percentage was lower than what we were told was supposed to be the case. So say we were supposed to make 75% of what the Toronto people made, cost of living there different than Waterloo. And at that moment, we realized, hey, there's something off here. What are we going to do about it? So we made a plan to talk about it with our managers, to bring it up, to just say, this is different. So that just really taught me like a huge valuable lessons that closed mouths do not get fed. And there's strength in numbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what, does wealth disparity mean, especially in the Canadian context? We see it in the American context all the time. What does that look like here? And what is Wealthnuvo doing about closing these gaps?
Yeah, the wealth gap is really important because we often love to talk about the pay gap. I talked to Rachel yesterday about like the pay gap and how women make a fraction of a dollar compared to white men. Talked about some Canadian statistics. It's good to talk about them again because we need to know about them, where women in general make 69 cents on the dollar compared to white men, and Indigenous women make lower than that at 65 cents, racialized women at 67 cents, and even our newcomer women. Right. I mean, it's celebrated that maybe they are 71 cents, but that's still 29 cents off of every dollar. And that's just talking about the pay gap. So those are people in similar roles, similar types of employment. Are we talking about the leadership gap? How many women make it past management level? How many women are able to, overcome career gaps in climbing in their careers?
Right.
There's tons and tons of gaps that we need to talk about. The investing gap. We have a lot of women who, unfortunately, have a lot of their money not invested in the stock market or not invested earning where they can make money while you're sleeping. Make money where you do not have to actively be working in order for income to be coming in. And these are things that we need to address. I think it's something like 70% of women have their money sitting in cash. Cash, cash which earns nothing,
70%.
70%. It doesn't really earn anything for
Right.
them. And that's something that we need to change. Leadership gaps, pay gaps, career gaps, leadership gaps. I know we don't want to let's not talk about the thigh gap because there's way more other important gaps to talk about. The funding gap.
Big one.
A huge one.
Yeah.
We talk about venture capital. Again, US statistics, less than 3% of venture capital to start the businesses that are going to shape the world, that is going to shape the types of employment that we have going forward. Less than 3% go to women, and less than 0.5% go to women of color.
0.5%.
Yeah, these are things that we need to change because I really feel, and I know Rachel said it yesterday, money is neutral. It's what you bring to money and what you do with it that really sets it apart.
Right.
And I know in my gut, not all women, but literally the majority of women, when they make their decisions of what they're going to do with their money, it impacts their families, it impacts our communities, it impacts our economies. And that's what I really want to see more of.
Amazing. And I think you mentioned turning good little savers into badass
Shut
investors.
your mouth.
That is, first of all, that like I'm in, I want to be in that team. I want to be in that community. What would you say is, Wealthnuvo's part in that specific mission?
Yeah, I was really kind of intentional in saying we want to turn good little savers into badass investors.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who was like, do you like that word little? What's wrong with being a saver? There's nothing wrong with being a saver. I think that's a good base that you need to start from. I feel myself, I'm a reformed saver because I really feel like saving is the message that we get talked to a lot as women. A lot of the messaging around marketing of finance and products to women is, how about you clip these coupons? How about you spend less on a latte? As if $5 a day if you spending $5 a day on a latte means you're not going to be a millionaire when you retire.
I can do both.
Why can't you do both? Like instead of talking about saving $5 a day, let's talk about how if you had a side hustle, if you put that extra money in the stock market, or you negotiated a raise or left that job for another employment, you can have an extra $6,000 a year. Why aren't we talking about that? Let's talk about earning more and investing. And when I say investing, it's investing in yourself, it's investing in your career, it's investing in the stock market, it's investing in alternatives. What are the ways that we can earn more rather than just staying good little savers? And that really means that sometimes we got to come out of our comfort zone. We got to do some of the things that we're not expected to be in those situations. But what it will do is it will create better for you, which means better for your families and better for our communities.
Yes, and that resonates with me so much. So I just want to ask you, what does wealth look like for you? How do you define wealth? Because it's different for everyone.
Wealth is definitely different for everybody. But my personal definition of wealth is being able to do what you want, when you want, with whomever you want. It's really that freedom to make choices in your life that are expansive and not restrictive. I really do think there's a hierarchy when it comes to financial decisions. I think you really start at security, making decisions to make sure that you are secure. Hopefully then you move on to financial growth. So getting to do more things with what you have, increasing that budget to do, again, more things that you want to do. And then taking that next step to independence, where you have money put aside that one day that you no longer have to be working in order to have an income coming in. But then there's so much more than that. You can have financial empowerment, the right to dictate what your money does and where it goes. I was so excited for Rachel to talk about the Hello Foundation that she started to help Black mothers in order to continue to work and expand their jobs and their businesses in order to have that financial empowerment to do what she really wants to do, and then really creating that legacy, which I think is so important, that we're teaching the next generation of how to be secure a lot faster, how to get into independence a lot faster, so they can do the really important work that we need to do in this world that doesn't revolve around just making sure you have enough money to live.
Right. And we are at the Beyond Money Summit, and there's so much going on in that name, even though it sounds simple. And I know that it's very important to you to not just focus on investing in the stock market, in real estate, in crypto, whatever else alternative investments that you can make. Investing in yourself is definitely a huge part, and something that's missing, particularly for women of color, because we've been taught to put that to the side.
Give first.
Give first. So how do you approach setting boundaries to be able to invest in yourself?
Well, first of all, I want to say, when it comes to investing in yourself and financial self-care, I'm guilty of being more mechanical, thinking about the numbers and how things move. And honestly, with you, Zah, you've been helping me to bring it back to be what money is and what it truly can do. So honestly, it's about addressing certain needs and about, making sure that we talk about some of the words that we use around money and the mindset we use around money as a kind of a first place to start.
So now for everybody at home, as the founder, as the mother of Beyond Money Summit, you birthed this is your baby. What is one thing that you want? And it doesn't have to be one thing. What are some things that you want people to take away from the Beyond Money Summit?
The 100% thing that I want every person watching, especially the women watching, is that it's possible. It's possible to create wealth in your life. It's possible for you to be worthy just for being you, showing up, doing no other things. And it's just possible. And it's about talking about it. It's about putting into action. It's to looking at non-traditional ways to do things. But it is a possibility for your life. And that's what you're here for, to create possibility and make things happen.
Y'all hear that? It's possible, okay? And you are worthy. I'm so happy I got to talk to you. And I know that everybody's going to gain something from this conversation. And thank you for putting on this amazing summit. We needed it. We're so excited for it. And we're so proud of you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.